If you ever drive down Alder Street after midnight, you will notice something strange before you understand why. The road is perfectly paved, the houses are neat, the street lights work, and yet not a single police car patrols there anymore. Dispatchers reroute calls. Officers refuse assignments. Veterans fall silent when rookies ask questions. Everyone in town knows the rule, but nobody explains it clearly. They just say, avoid Alder after midnight. I did not believe in superstitions, especially ones whispered in break rooms between stale coffee and paperwork. I was new, ambitious, eager to prove myself useful. When the radio reported a noise complaint from number 16 Alder, I volunteered before anyone else could object. The dispatcher paused, long enough to make me notice. Then she sighed and logged the call without comment. My partner that night was Officer Malik, a 10-year veteran with calm eyes and careful words. When he heard the address, his fingers tightened slightly around the steering wheel. He did not argue, but he did not speak either. The silence between us grew heavier as we turned onto Alder Street. The neighborhood looked ordinary under the orange glow of streetlights. Curtains were drawn. Lawns were trimmed. Nothing moved. Yet the air felt thick, like sound itself had been muted. Even our engine seemed too loud for the quiet. I remember thinking how ridiculous the rumors were. Then the radio crackled with faint static. Not a message, just static that rose and fell like distant breathing. Malik turned the volume down, jaw tight. "It starts like this," he muttered. I asked what he meant, but he shook his head. We parked outside number 16. The porch light was on. The front door stood slightly open. No sound came from inside. I stepped out, hand resting near my holster, trying to ignore the strange unease crawling up my spine. Malik stayed half a step behind me. As we approached, I noticed something unsettling. Every house along the street had its lights off, except this one. And every window we passed seemed to hold the faintest movement behind the glass, like silhouettes pulling back quickly. Watching. Hiding. I knocked gently, announcing our presence. The door creaked wider on its own. A cold draft slipped past us, carrying a smell I could not place. Not decay. Not smoke. Something older. Malik whispered, "We should call this in." I laughed quietly, more nervous than amused, and stepped inside. The living room looked normal, except for one detail. Every clock on the walls showed the exact same time, 12:07 a.m. None of them were ticking. Behind me, Malik stopped breathing. I turned to ask why, and saw him staring at something over my shoulder. Malik was staring at the far corner of the living room, eyes fixed on something I could not yet see. I turned slowly, expecting an intruder, a shadow, anything solid. Instead, the corner looked empty, except for an old wooden chair facing the wall. The wallpaper above it was darker, like smoke had once stained that spot. "Do you see it?" Malik whispered. I shook my head. He swallowed hard and stepped backward. The chair wasn't there when we walked in. A chill ran across my arms. I was sure I would have noticed furniture that obvious. The air felt heavier now, pressing against my ears until everything sounded distant. From somewhere deeper inside the house, a faint creaking noise began. Slow, rhythmic, deliberate. Like wood rocking gently back and forth. I realized with dread it matched the shape of that chair. Malik grabbed my sleeve and pointed toward the hallway. The creaking was not coming from the chair anymore. It was moving away, traveling deeper into the darkness. We followed carefully, flashlights cutting narrow paths through the shadows. Family photos lined the walls, but every frame held blank paper instead of pictures. No faces. No memories. Just emptiness. The creaking stopped outside a closed bedroom door. The knob twitched once, twice, like someone testing it from inside. My heartbeat pounded loudly. Malik mouthed, "Don't." I ignored him and pushed the door open. The room was bare except for dozens of clocks covering the walls. Everyone read 12:07. None ticking. In the center stood the same wooden chair, slowly rocking by itself. Back and forth. Back and forth. My flashlight flickered violently. For a split second, I saw a dark shape sitting in the chair. Then it was gone. Malik stumbled backward, whispering prayers under his breath. The radio on my shoulder hissed with loud static. A voice tried to break through, repeating something distorted. I adjusted the volume and heard it clearly. Dispatch was calling our names. Over and over. But the timestamp on the transmission read 12:07 a.m. from 3 nights ago. My stomach dropped. Malik stared at me with terror. "We never answered that call," he said. Footsteps sounded behind us in the hallway. Slow. Dragging. Getting closer. Neither of us turned around. The chair stopped rocking. The silence that followed felt alive, listening, waiting. I realized we were no longer alone in that room. Something had followed us from the living room. And now it stood right behind us, breathing softly in the dark. Malik's hand trembled against mine. Neither of us dared move or speak or breathe too loudly. The clocks began ticking all at once. And we knew it was not for us anymore now. Should I continue to chapter 3? Continue. The ticking grew louder until it felt like it was happening inside my skull. Every clock in the room moved in perfect rhythm, sharp and mechanical, counting down something we could not see. I forced myself to turn around. The hallway was empty. No footsteps. No shadows. Just a long stretch of dim light and still air. But the sense of presence had not faded. It had simply shifted, like something intelligent had stepped aside to watch what we would do next. Malik grabbed my arm. "We have to leave. Now." We stepped into the hallway, moving quickly but carefully. As we passed the blank photo frames again, I noticed something that made my breath catch. The papers inside were no longer blank. Faint shapes were appearing, like photographs slowly developing. Faces. Blurry at first, then clearer. Men and women in police uniforms. Different years. Different badges. All staring directly at the camera with the same expression of confusion and fear. I recognized one of them. Officer Hernandez. He had transferred departments 2 years ago after what was officially called a stress-related incident. Nobody ever got details. His picture hadn't been there before. The front door came into view, and relief washed over me. We were almost out. I could already imagine the cool night air, the safety of the patrol car. I quickened my pace. Then I noticed the door. It was farther away than it should have been. The hallway had stretched. Subtly, impossibly longer. The door now looked at least 30 feet away, though we had walked the same path seconds earlier. Malik saw it too. His breathing turned ragged. "Don't run," he whispered. "It wants us to panic." We walked slowly. Each step felt heavier. The ticking from the clocks followed us, even though the room was behind us now. The sound had seeped into the walls. Halfway down the hallway, the radio crackled again. This time it was not static. It was my own voice. Calm. Clear. Speaking into the radio as if reporting. "Dispatch, this is Officer Rahman. Alder Street is not safe. Do not send anyone here after midnight." It repeats. It learns. It keeps us. I stopped walking. Malik stared at me in horror. "That's not you," he said. The recording continued. My voice sounded tired, older, like someone who had been awake for days. "We tried to leave. The street resets at 12:07. We are still inside." The radio went silent. I slowly turned toward Malik. What time is it? I asked. He looked at his watch. His face drained of color. 12:06 a.m. And somewhere behind us, a wooden chair began to creak again, gently rocking back and forth in the darkness. Should I continue to chapter 4? Continue. Malik grabbed my wrist so tightly it hurt. We have 1 minute, he said, voice shaking. Whatever this is, it resets at 12:07. We have to reach the door before then. We started walking faster, no longer caring about staying calm. The hallway seemed to resist us, each step feeling like wading through thick water. The front door still looked impossibly far away, but it was the only thing that felt real. Behind us, the creaking grew louder. Not from one chair now, but many. A chorus of wood scraping rhythmically against floors we could not see. The ticking of the clocks matched it perfectly, like a countdown synchronized with something ancient and patient. I glanced at my watch. 12 hours 6 minutes and 32 seconds. The walls began to change. The blank photo frames now clearly showed officers I did not recognize, lined up like a gallery of the trapped. Their eyes followed us as we passed. Some looked terrified. Some looked resigned. One or two looked almost calm, as if they had accepted this fate long ago. "Don't look," Malik said, pulling me forward. The radio suddenly came alive again. This time it was dozens of overlapping voices. Police codes, pleas for help, half-finished sentences. They layered over each other in a chaotic whisper that filled the hallway. We could see the door handle now. 12 hours 6 minutes and 49 seconds. I lunged forward and grabbed it. The metal felt ice cold, almost burning. Malik stood right behind me, breathing hard. "Open it," he urged. I pulled. The door did not budge. Panic surged through me. I pulled again, harder. Nothing. Malik joined in, yanking with both hands. The handle refused to turn, as if welded in place. The creaking stopped. Absolute silence filled the house. 12:07 a.m. Every clock stopped ticking at once. The hallway lights flickered and went out, plunging us into darkness. For a brief second, I thought we had lost. That we would become another set of faces on the wall. Then I heard something new. Distant. Familiar. The sound of our patrol car engine idling outside. Malik heard it too. "It reset," he whispered. The hallway lights came back on. The door swung open easily beneath my hand. We stumbled out onto the porch, gasping for air. The street looked normal again. Quiet. Still. Our patrol car sat where we had parked it, headlights off, engine running. We did not speak as we got inside. Malik drove away without turning on the siren. Neither of us looked back at number 16. When we reached the station, the dispatcher stared at us like we had seen a ghost. "Where were you?" she asked. "You never responded to the Alder Street call 3 nights ago." Malik and I exchanged a long look. We both checked our watches. 12:06 a.m. That was the night the department quietly agreed on a new rule. No patrols on Alder Street after midnight.